Well, hi YouTube, my name is Gene. Well, today I want to show you some of the basic essentials that I take on every camping trip in my Toyota 4Runner. I'll show you the water storage system I use, the food storage system I use, some of the food that I take with me. Then I'll show you my two cooking setups and also the fuel I take and some of the accessories I use for camp cooking. So, again, like I say, this is a baseline for every trip I go on. I take at least these items, and sometimes I take more depending on where I'm going, the time of year, and how long I'm going for. So, for the water storage system, let's start with that. I always take this little Coleman 5-gallon water system. It's got a nice pour spout here that has a shut off. You can lay this sideways and get it turned around here. There we go. And I use this a lot on my camping. The second thing I take is this, and this is new, I've just added this. This is a 3-gallon Reliance water container. So this gives me 8. I also, when needed, will take 2 1-gallon Arizona tea water containers. They're better than the standard 1-gallon containers you'd get at the dollar store. These are sturdy. They won't bust open on you. I also always take 4 to 6 1-liter bottles of the Smart Water. These are a perfect size to take because I can take them out of the vehicle and I can put these in a backpack or a day pack, as many as I want. They're a perfect fit for the side pockets of my packs, so get those at Walmart, and I always take those. Also, I can drop in electrolyte tablets in these while I'm hiking, so that size is very useful. Alright, so we're talking 5 gallons, 3 gallons, 8, 6 1-liter bottles is what, a gallon and a 1.6 gallons. Just under 10 gallons of water I take on every trip. And so, now let's move over to the food storage system. Two main things here. The first thing is this small clear bin I bought at Walmart. I keep my Mountain House meals in here. Oh gosh. I keep enough food in here for the number of days on my trip. And I have a meal for each dinner, and then I have some for breakfast and lunch in here. Different things. It's low right now. I've got to replenish it for my upcoming trips, but this is what I had left over from last year. So some Mountain House meals, tuna, some instant smoothies. Some of this stuff I haven't tried yet. This is a breakfast meal. And I also usually take some Crunch bars, different types. But usually for dinner, I'll do a Mountain House meal. So what's good about this food storage bin is two things. One, it's clear, so it's easy to see in, especially in low light. The second thing is I use this top as a tray, either to prep meals or to eat on. So that's been extremely useful. Alright, so that's the main dry food storage bin. The other thing I take, and like I say, it's a small size, it's good. It fits behind my driver's seat, just tucked away. The other thing I always take on every trip is this little Ozark Trail soft cooler. It's got a plastic shell inside but it's got a soft wrap on the outside. And this is my second one. They're not highly durable. The zippers fail on them. But what this is, the reason why I like these is it's a perfect size to sit up in my front driver's seat on my trips. And what I usually put in here, I'll keep a couple of bottles of Gatorade in here. I'll also put Starbucks Frappuccinos. They come in glass, or I think they make them in plastic bottles now. 4 of those or 6 of those. When I don't want to cook coffee in the morning, it's nice to be able to open one of those Frappuccinos and have that as my morning drink. I'll also keep some Crunch Bars and snacks in here. Whatever I want to be able to get at while I'm driving, just reach over the front seat and reach in here. The final thing I keep in here is, on every trip, the first night, I'll take a meal with me that I've already prepared at home. And it varies, but a lot of times it'll just be pizza wrapped in foil. So I can have that for dinner in my first night camping if I want, or if I'm on the road, and if there's any left, I'll have what's left of that meal for breakfast the following morning. So that's the basic water storage system, the 2 food bins, and sometimes I'll take more food in a backpack if I need to. It just depends. Now let's move over to my 2 cooking stoves and the fuel and a few accessories. So I've shown these 2 stoves in one of my previous videos, my sleep platform videos, but this is my little gas one single burner dual fuel stove. It takes it's got a cable here that I can hook up to propane, these little Coleman green minis, or I can lay in a butane fuel canister here in the stove. So, and I've used both, and this stove works really, really well. Just turn that over like that, and I can lay my little MSR cook pot on here, and see if I can flip this open. There you go. It's great for boiling water, cooking small meals. Also, I dug out my old windshield here. This windshield is very useful because it's windy a lot of times. And so this is one option I have for cooking. The second option I have is this little backpacking stove, which I use frequently. I mean, this was inexpensive. I think just the stove was 10 or 15 bucks on Amazon, and I used these small MSR fuel canisters. This is just fast and easy, and it boils water very quickly in this little cook cup pot. That's what I call it. And of course, I keep a lighter and a sponge in here and a few things. But the stove came in this bag. They're on Amazon from a bunch of different sellers. But I would say 70% of the time in the mornings and evenings, I'm cooking with this small backpacking setup on the back of my 4Runner. And then 30% to 40% of the time, I'll cook with this larger setup. So, I usually carry at least 1, sometimes 2 of these little Coleman Greenies propane. I need to get some more butane fuel. Some of those MSR fuel canisters. The other couple of things, accessories that I found useful is, one is this. If you want to use that to start a campfire, that's very useful. The other thing that I would say is very useful and important. This is a little titanium, lightweight, long handle spoon. It's got a smooth surface there. I forget which brand this is, but I use this on the Mountain House meals. I'll boil water in this setup. I'll take the Mountain House meal and I'll put it in this little, I made this little food holder cooler out of Reflectix. And I'll put the Mountain House meal in here, tear the top, pour the boiling water into the meal, and stir it and let it sit. And then I'll eat it with this, I'll use this spoon to reach into the deal. And it's a good system. It's worked really well, so I highly recommend both this type of stove and this type of long-handled, lightweight titanium spoon. Let me see. I think I just made this out of something, I don't know, it was either a cheap dollar store sunscreen, or I think I've got another one I made out of Reflectix. Just something to give some insulation and protect your hand from the boiling hot water in here. The final things, these are called Loctite bags. They're kind of a large size, and I use these to store food in and put inside my backpack when I'm going either on a day hike or overnight backpacking. This reduces the chance of the smell of the food getting out, and I just, especially, you know, where there's animals, I just always want to be mindful of that, and keep the food inside these bags. The other thing, this is a food bag. Been a long time since I've used it, but if I needed to, I could hang the food on a line in the tree if I needed to, depending on where I'm camping. But for 4Runner truck camping, these are the main essentials that I take, and I'm kind of a minimalist, and I know people take a lot of gear and equipment and food and coolers and all this stuff, but this is what I found that works for me. I take extra water, plenty of extra water. I take dry food, I take drinks and some other meals in this. And then for my cooking setups, I have, you know, 2 different systems here, and I have redundant backups on the different types of fuel, which is important. I've had one of these blow on me on a trip up in the Sierras. The top got caught in this, and when I removed the fuel canister from the connector, the top inside the fuel canister came out and the bottle blew on me. So I'm glad I had some backups to cook dinner that night. So overall, I just wanted to show you what I use. It's constantly kind of, I'm adding or changing it, but I've used this for the last 1.5 years and it's worked out really well so far. So I think that's it. I hope this information helps someone out there, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below this video and I'll do my best to reply. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Alright, I think that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.